Good morning, students. In this video, I shall discuss the transport in plant. How the different substances they are transported from one part of the plant to the other. Because the plant also needs so many substances. For example, the water, then the nutrients and other minerals in each and every part of the plant. And also the prepared food materials are to be transported from leaf to all parts of the plant. So that is why the plant needs a system to transport all these materials. So that is why here we shall first discuss about the transport system. Now what are the different organs or the system which is there inside the plant which help in the transport of materials or carrying the material from one part to another part of the plant. Now, next we shall study the mechanism of transport. How the materials are actually transported from one part to another. Now, first we shall study the transport system in plant. That means how the cells and the tissues they actually receive this material from which part to which part. That is why here we shall discuss about this system. Now this transport system mainly consists of two types of tissues. These are the very much important tissues. These are also called the conducting tissue. These are also called the conducting tissue, or these are also called the vascular tissue, which actually conducts the material from one part to another. Now another tissue, this is called the phloem. So xylem and phloem, these are the complex permanent tissues. Why they are complex? Because they are made up of more than one type of cell. The xylem consists of vessels, tracheids, parenchyma and sclerenchyma. So different types of cells which are present in xylem tissue which helps in the conduction of water and mineral from root to the different parts of the plant against the gravity. Now, these xylem vessels and tracheids mainly, they form a tube. This is a pipe inside the stem, root and leaf. In the root, the pipe is there. In the stem, it is there. In the leaf, also there. So that is why through this xylem pipe, normally the water and minerals, they are transported to different parts of the plant and they absorb them from the soil. Now, these xylem tissue, they are normally dead in nature and their walls are very much thick, and as they are dead, there is no cytoplasm. No cytoplasm is there and there is no nucleus. So that is why this is hollow in nature. And as it is hollow in nature, look at here, this is the xylem vessel and this xylem vessel is hollow and the wall is ruptured here. So that is why the water and mineral they easily pass through these xylem vessels. Now, next, their cell wall, they are thickened because this cell wall contains mostly the cellulose materials and the lignin materials. So this lignin and cellulose which forms a thick wall, and this thick wall of the xylem, it also provides the mechanical support to the plant. Now, the next tissue, that is the phloem. This phloem is also a complex permanent tissue. It is a permanent tissue because it lost the power of division and redivision. And here, this phloem tissue also a complex tissue because it also consists of more than one type of cell. And these cells are called the sieve tube, the most important phloem. Look at here, this is the structure of the sieve tube. This is the phloem cell and this is the sieve tube. And this sieve tube, which do not contain the nucleus, but the cytoplasm is there, and on both the sides, look at here, these are called the sieve plate. And this sieve plate, this is having some pores. These are the pores in the upper and lower side, and through the pores, normally the food materials which are transported from the leaf to the different parts of the plant. And the movement of the food material through the phloem occurs. Now, the sieve tube is the most fundamental cell here. But along with this sieve tube, there are other cells like your companion cell. Look at here, this companion cell which is having a larger nucleus and cytoplasm and so many other organelles like mitochondria, Golgi, gallbladder, cytoplasmic reticulum, etc. So that is why it prepares almost all the essential materials and they supply these materials to the sieve tube because the sieve tube it does not have the nucleus. Now, after that there are two other types of phloem which are not actually help in the process of conduction. They help in other purposes but they are also present there in the plant. The sclerenchyma, they provide the mechanical support and they are very much strong and rigid. So that is why they are present in the seed coat, present in the fibers and the parenchyma. These are present throughout the body. Now, the movement of the water here in case of xylem, it is unidirectional. That means the water and mineral, they are normally transported from root to different parts of the plant. That means from soil to different parts, it moves against the gravity. And there are some special forces required for this. We shall discuss in detail about this in the mechanism process. And now, another important, that is your phloem. And here, this phloem, in case of phloem, the food materials are transported from here. Look at the pathway. It passes from here to the stem and it goes in the upward direction as well as in the downward direction. So that is why the movement of the substances or prepared food in case of phloem, it is bidirectional. It is bidirectional because the food materials are required here in the upper part. It may be on the flower, fruit and other leaves like that, and it also required there in the root. So that is why it moves in both the direction, in the upward as well as in the downward directions. And the tracheids and vessels, which normally in case of xylem, they are present in the angiospermic plant. In the angiosperms, these are plentifully available, both xylems and xylem vessels and the tracheids. The tracheids, they have the pits which are not actually the pores, but the thinner part is there, and here normally lignin material is absent. No lignin is there. So that is why only cellulose is there. That is why through this the water move from one tracheid to another tracheid. So that is why here the xylems, the vessels and the tracheids, and here the sieve tubes. These are the main important xylem and the phloem cells, which are also called the conducting tissue or vascular tissue, which normally carry the water as well as the prepared food from one part to another. And normally the gaseous exchange, as we have already studied, the carbon dioxide and oxygen, they normally directly enter into the leaf through stomata, and here the lenticels are there. So that is why transportation is not required for them. They directly diffuse into the leaf or into the stem or into the root. Now we shall study the mechanism of transport of the water and mineral from root to different parts of the plant and the prepared food material from the leaf to the different parts of the plant. Now, how this water and mineral, they actually transported from root to different parts of the plant. Now, first phase of absorption of water, that from the soil. Suppose it is the soil here, and from the soil, water actually enters into the root hair. This is the root hair, and these root hairs are normally unicellular in nature. That means it is the epidermal cells. They have an outgrowth that is called root hair, and it is unicellular. That means when the water will enter here, it will directly enter into the cell. Now, it moves from one cell to another cell, another cell to another cell, from the epidermal cell to the root cortex, and from the root cortex to the root xylem. Because in case of a root, suppose this is the root and they are the different branches of the root, and suppose this is the branch and final thin branch, and each cell they have the root hair, and from the root hair they enters into the finally to the xylem. Xylem is present here there in the center. So after enter into the xylem, this is the xylem, and from this xylem to the main xylem here, this is the main xylem of the root. Suppose this is the root part, and from the xylem it moves in the upward direction. So first phase is the entry of the water from the soil into the epidermal cell and to the cortex cell and then to the xylem, which is present in the stellar region. And this process, it is called absorption of water. And this absorption of water, the pathway through which normally it enters into the root. The first one, that is the root hair. A root hair, and from the root hair it passes to the epidermal cell, normally epidermal cells, and from the epidermal cells normally it passes to the root cortex, the cortex cells, and from the cortex cells they normally enter into the root xylem. The root xylem, which is the vascular tissue, which is the conducting tissue, and normally after it reaches to the xylem, then it moves in the upward direction. So that is why this is the pathway for the absorption of the water. In higher classes you will study the actual pathway. There are different pathways like apoplast pathway, when the water will not enter into the cytoplasm, but it moves from in between the cell wall and the plasma membrane. Suppose the water will move in this direction here, and from this plasmodesmata is there, from this like this. It will not enter into the cytoplasm, but it moves between the cell wall and the plasma membrane. So this pathway is called apoplast pathway, and the movement is faster in this pathway. Now the second one, that is the Symplast pathway. In case of Symplast pathway, what happens? Normally the water enters into the cytoplasm, from one cytoplasm to another cytoplasm, then it comes out, fifth cytoplasm, then it enters into the cytoplasm in this movement. This is called Symplast pathway. Now, the third one, that is called the vacuolar pathway. In some cases, what happens? Now the water enters from the root hair to the cytoplasm, then to the vacuole. It is the vacuole which is present here at the center, and it enters into the vacuole. From one vacuole it comes out and through the cytoplasm to the next cell, and from the next cell it enters into the vacuole, and from the vacuole comes out. So that is why this is the slowest pathway, because the movement of the water and mineral is very slow. But what is the actually molecular mechanism by which they actually enters here? That process is called normal diffusion. This is the normal diffusion process, when the concentration of water is more here in the soil, water more in soil in comparison to the cytoplasm of the root cell. So that is why it diffuses directly into the root hair and to the epidermal cell, then to the cortex. So this process is called diffusion. And when this diffusion process occurs through the semi-permeable membrane, a special term, it is called the osmosis. And by this process, normally they move to the xylem. Now the next phase, how the water actually move upward direction. This is in this direction, and it is going against the gravity. Against the gravity. Now here, no doubt the xylem pipe is there, but the fluid, water is there, the pipe is there, but without the force or pressure, how can the water will go up? Because the transpiration pool is in the downward direction, and the property of the water is to move from upward to downward. But how the water is going in the upward direction? and there must be some sort of force or pressure, either the pressure from the upper side, that is called suction pressure. When the pressure comes from the upper side to suck the water upward, like your straw. If you drink the cold drinks from the bottle, and if the straw is there, then when you suck the water, suck the cold drinks, it will go to your mouth. So like that, it may be your suction pressure which normally drag the water in this direction, or here in the root there may be the pushing pressure. So which type of pressure is actually present here? Now, the most important theory regarding this, that is called transpiration pool theory. Then what is this transpiration pool, and how this transpiration pool helps in the transport of water? Now this is called transpiration pool. Now what is transpiration, and how this transpiration occurs, and how this pooling pressure is created? This is the lip, and here the stomata is there. And through the stomata, normally the water is lost to the environment in the form of vapor. So that is why it is called the transpiration, because in the process of transpiration, loss of water occur in the form of vapor. In the form of vapor, they release to the outside, and it is directly connected to the xylem of the leaves. So when they passes to the outside through the stomata, then the water pressure is normally low here. When it is evaporated, it is the low pressure of water. So when the water is lower here, so automatically the water which is present in the higher concentration here, automatically the water will flow in this direction because it is directly connected here. So in this way the water moves upward. So this is called the transpiration pool. And this transpiration is the process by which water is lost to the environment in the form of vapor through the stomata. So when continuously the water vapor is lost here, so when the water vapor is continuously going in this direction, so what will happen? The adjacent water molecules will automatically fill up the low pressure. When the water is lost here, the pressure becomes low. To make up this pressure, normally the water from high pressure moves towards the low pressure, and automatically the water moves in this direction. When there is a continuous loss of water, there is a continuous entry of water here. The water will continuously enter here. Suppose you just open a tap here, automatically water will rush from here because it is a continuous pipe. So that is why this is called transpiration pool theory. And according to this, now the water is going up to around 200 to 300 feet tall plant, and continuously it is going on around more than 90% of water which is normally absorbed by the plant here. Suppose here 100% is absorbed here, but out of this the 90% loss in the form of transpiration. Then why it is absorbed by the plant and why it is lost to the environment? Because to create this pressure, the transpiration pool pressure, to create this pressure, normally this much of water is lost in the form of vapor through the stomata, and that process is called transpiration. So if the transpiration will not occur, then the water will not move. If the water will not move, automatically the water and mineral will not reach to each and every part of the plant. So that is why it is called that transpiration is a necessary evil. Of course, without transpiration, no water can move. If the water will not move, no minerals and other substances will reach there. So that is why the transpiration is very much essential. But 90% of water which is absorbed by the plant, it is lost to the environment in the form of water vapor. So that is why it is an evil, because a lot of water is lost by this process. But it is going on, it is a natural process, it is going on in each and every plant. Now the next process, that is the ascent of sap. That means sap means the tissue fluid, how this fluid actually move in the upward direction. So that is called ascent. So after the absorption, the water move in the upward direction, and the most important mechanism involved here, that is the transpiration pool, as we have already discussed. And by this transpiration pool pressure, the water continuously move in this direction and it lost to the environment through the stomata. Now, next it is the movement of the prepared food material from the leaf to all parts of the plant through the stomata. So, this is the process of transport of prepared food material from leaf to all parts of plant. It is called translocation. And how this translocation process occurs? What is the mechanism behind it? The food materials which are normally prepared by the leaf, they are normally in the form of the simple sugar. Now the sugar is prepared there, and this sugar now converted into insoluble starch. Sugar is soluble in water and starch is insoluble in water. But after the formation of the sugar, they are now converted into the starch and they enter into the phloem cell or phloem tissue. And this phloem tissue normally transports the food from leaf to the all parts, because in the leaf the concentration of food or starch is more. The starch is more here, and it is required in each and every cell, and where in each and every cell the starch is low. So that is why it is called the source from where the starch starts its movement from the leaf, and it is the sink where they are utilized. Where they are utilized, the carbohydrate material, there is the sink and energy is released there. So that is why the concentration is low here, and automatically the pressure of starch is less here and more here. So that is why automatically they move from the leaf to all parts of the plant. And this process is the mass flow hypothesis is there. Then the mineral transport is the from root to all parts. There is the transpiration pool theory. So there are so many theories which we are given here, but the movement is called mass flow hypothesis movement, and here they move from leaf to all part of the plant, and that process is called translocation. Now these are the two important processes: the ascent of sap for the water and mineral, they reach to each and every part, and translocation process, the movement of prepared food material from the leaf to all parts of the plant. In this way, the plants normally transport the material from one part to another. So that is why this is the most important process in case of plant. Otherwise, the plant will not get sufficiently all the material and they will not perform their function properly. And that is why this is the important process or life process in case of plant. Now, I hope this much for the day, and this video will be useful for you, and if it is really useful for you, now please like it and subscribe for further videos. Thank you very much.